All right, your attorney is Jay Moritz.
Larry Blue. This is Lucas, Larry Lucas.
All right, thank you. Just give us a moment, okay? And what is your name, sir?
Mariano Rendon.
All right. All right, thank you. All right, and the other Rendon, who is your attorney?
Martinez.
It's Raymond, probably. No problem. So, yes.
I hope to be on standby and call.
All right, no problem. So we'll just wait for your attorneys. What's going to happen is you all will get a new jury trial date because we're currently in jury trial. So if you all want to, if you want to step out in the hallway, and if you will call your attorneys and see if they're available by Zoom, or either they can come in, because we're actually going to start up the trial at 9:30. All right, thank you.
Judge, apologies for being late. There was a young man who's got an MTEAG in a county court, but didn't know where he was supposed to go, so I assisted.
Oh, no, I love when people assist other people, so that is fine. Yes.
How can I make sure I'm in the right courtroom?
What's your name?
Kelvin E. Williams.
All right, just give me one moment.
Do you happen to know your SID number?
No.
How do you spell your first name?
A-L-B-I-N.
Middle initial B?
Middle initial B.
I'm looking it up, Judge.
All right, thank you.
The only Kelvin Williams that comes up is a Kelvin Delane Williams with a DWI from 1993.
Do you know what your charge is?
I think it's unlawful carry.
All right, come up, please. Jenna, are you able to look him up by date of birth? All right, so.
Judge, I think I have it. Kelvin Drew Leo Williams.
Yes.
DOB July 4th, 2000. Okay, you have a POM 4 ounces to 5 pounds, 2 of them. They are assigned to case management systems. A little slow.
First row on the bottom, second chair, top row, second chair.
So that felony doesn't seem to be assigned yet.
This one? Second chair, yes, second chair. Second chair. There's missing one because he's special housing and they don't have no space for him downstairs.
All right, and who would that be?
Joe Anthony Jimenez.
All right, thank you.
So Mr. Williams, you are in the correct court for your felony cases.
And you mentioned, are we going to trial?
No,
Oh,
no, most assuredly not today. You are Erica DeWine. If this informs me correctly, your UCW is assigned to County Court at Law 6.
Yeah. It's gonna be a beautiful day.
Second floor.
So that's today?
No, That is set for a status conference on March 26th. So the only place you need to be today is here.
Do I need to contact my attorney? Or is she on?
It's a mail.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to contact him or not, but it would probably be a good idea. I'll bring up his contact information.
Got the paperwork over to Awesome.
Jay, I saw you early before 8:30 and then you don't make it here.
I didn't know I had to be 8:30.
No, no, no. I mean, we were waiting at 9.
Oh, okay, I was out.
And then, oh, we had the door locked. No, no.
It was,
I was like, I can't believe he said he was going to be here super early and I see you and you were super early.
yeah, I was down, we were down at our round table down there and
I wanted to stop by the round table. I didn't have a chance to.
moved to, morning. Oh. Where did you come in at?
What do you mean?
You were going around. Were you
Oh,
just-
through the back door.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I mean, outside, y'all have another entrance y'all can come. in?
No, there's a elevator for judges, but just the side doors. And the side doors, you have to have the badges or either be buzzed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I would have
Oh, no, it's
come in
not
the
a
back
problem.
door.
I mean,
We're waiting for jurors. We don't start up till 9:30.
Okay, well, I'll have this ready in a minute. We've got the probation officer here, so we're good.
is it on? No, it was not one.
Yes. Let me talk to her real quick.
Sure.
It wasn't him, we asked about it on the babies. There's a different one.
Yeah.
He's always just pretty casual. I don't know. It's a lot of you. He'll be here Thursday, and then this one's that tomorrow. You know how that goes.
Okay, Chief, your bill. This is a plea bargain case.
Or.
Yes.
Just take the whole stick. I will take the whole stick out.
Yes.
You put the hat in there.
Yeah, look, I'll take some in the morning and then after lunch I'll go away and then I'll come get one after lunch. So like,
So if we get some in his house, it's you.
it's me.
Here.
Yes.
Your waiver, consent, Mr. I'll go about it. I want to trial. This says. This is confess and admit the intentions of their county. Into the habitation. I signed this so that I'm going. Oh, you don't like it? Oh, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Hello?
That you'll need to take up.
Just let them know that you were here.
Yes.
Bring. More problems. Did
So
you talk to the state about a trial date?
No,
Isn't that-
yeah.
So that gentleman was arrested for another POM, 4 ounces of 5 pounds, with an alleged offense of January 2025. But from what I see in Odyssey, it did not trigger any warrants for his other 2 cases.
Okay.
Hello.
You have any dates that you need to? Or just get a date from her, whatever they have.
I don't, because I don't know schedule for the next however many months. So I don't know if I'm- We're supposed to start the Tamar McIntyre trial March 31st. And I'm fairly certain that Garahan and Galloway are not going to appreciate me putting more added assaults on the docket
This
before
is.
that one. I was thinking May 6th, because
Yeah.
our trial is relatively light. We do have a couple of murders that are already set. But we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 defendants on that docket so
Okay.
far.
I'll set.
So May 6th,
Or this and they'll bring you in to swear you. Mr. Prosecutor.
Just pass them to me when they're ready.
or May 20th.
That's how we. Do that other.
Understood, so let's aim for May 6th.
Can you put, which one? Rendon, can you put Rendon, which one? Mariana. Matthew? And Matthew.
For the most part.
Matthew, I think has.
All right, Matthew Rendon.
Yes.
And so counsel, on this case, I do have the acknowledgement of discovery. There's no more outstanding discovery, correct? Hello. Hi. All right, so just as a reminder, your plea deadline date has expired. The court will not consider any plea bargain agreements in this case without good cause. Otherwise, you'll have to plead open to the court. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we're currently in a jury trial. And we completed jury selection yesterday, so I know it's going to continue to go. So have you all conferred on a jury trial date?
Actually, I heard his father, Mr. Mariano Rendon, got May the 6th. We're okay on the same day.
Well, are you all going to be trying this case together?
No, but I think they want to go on his before mine, so. First get that.
Okay. All right, your next jury trial date will be May 6th. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court.
You can have a seat, sir.
It is very slow. Why is that? For who? Okay. Oh, why are we doing extra flyers for him? Oh,
And he didn't get anything for his wife last year.
That's-
So we
yeah.
we stayed late for trial, Judge.
All right. So here's the thing. The fact that we were late for trial and that's why he didn't have anything for his wife, that's not on us. Because men are out here waiting to the last minute.
He had dinner planned.
We're in trial.
Were you gonna cook?
No.
Are you still married? The fact, here's the thing, the fact that you were here instead of on Valentine's, we probably saved your marriage. Who knows? People get so stressed about Valentine's. Look at Rick. Rick is new here. Rick is, y'all really killed them on Valentine's Day? It wasn't me.
Valentine's Day.
That was the attorneys.
Yeah. Veterans weekend. Veterans Day weekend.
Great break.
We were just working here, it's gonna be-
Hey, I've never done Christmas Eve. That was another judge. Mariano Rendon. All right, state. On this case, I do not have a copy of the trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal, I'm sorry, of the acknowledgement of discovery. So could you prepare an acknowledgement of discovery on each case, please?
Yes, Joe.
All right, so you'll need to sign the acknowledgement of discovery before you leave.
Just for the record, I do know we did that last time, but we'll do another.
All right, awesome. Because I don't have it, for some reason, it's not in either file. All right, Mr. Rendon, we're currently in a jury trial. We completed jury selection yesterday, so we can't do two trials at once, although we have done that before, but it was strictly by accident. So, have you all decided on a jury trial date? Your jury trial date will be May sixth.
Yes, ma'am.
The court will not accept any plea bargaining agreements without good cause. Otherwise, you'll have to plead open to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You always dress appropriate for court. I appreciate that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
It'll take me a few minutes to take care of.
But Sean, on Valentine's Day, I always see men at HEB or some other store, and you know what they're doing? Picking through the dead roses. At the last minute. Mahia, do you wait till the last minute?
Get a bargain judge on that day. They're cheap, they're usually cheaper, you know, so is the candy.
Yeah.
So we bargain shop it too. So.
Oh, Deputy Laura, okay, you did bring back my memory. I did offer him my flowers to Jake. See, the helpful judge. I'm like, take my name off. And have you all, on Mariano State, have you all decided which case you're proceeding on?
Yes, but I think we've announced multiple times, we're gonna try the serious bodily injury case first.
All right, so,
That's the more serious.
all right, so everyone, y'all need to be ready for both if there's gonna be some sort of last minute, maybe a witness is not available or something. So state, if it comes to the point where you're not trying the case that he thinks of first, give him sufficient notice.
Understood, Judge.
Richard Campos? Oh, have you all conferred?
I was filling in today for Mr. Oriole, and we were just seeing that the jury trial was going today to see if we could.
Oh, you need to confer with the state on a jury trial date.
I think, sir, Mr. Campos.
Araceli Robles?
She worked yesterday.
Yes, okay.
And I am on all the cases, I think, unless you want.
All right, and all right, so what date is she being released?
Well, she's in for 30 days, but she's gonna be there about 3
All right, and I'm sorry, she's only been there for a week?
I'm not on the exact number, but I know that they just called. Mentioned her no shape setting.
It's like feeding the beast, right?
All right, Norma, set this for the week of March 17th for disposition.
You know, I
Oh.
remember when we used to. put
March
out
17th?
everything, like, I remember.
All right, so we're coming back on March 17th for disposition.
For the videos between DVDs, and they have their whole room for the VHS tape, you know. and they-
Bashan?
Each VHS, there's so much space.
Oh, on Araceli Robles, she does have the probation case, but we've already taken care of the probation case. So she is at an inpatient treatment facility,
The bike
Okay.
shape.
and these new cases will just come back on March 17th.
And because they work out those things. The discovery is so much, that even though they have like a high speed machine to do the discovery.
Yeah.
It took 24 hours.
I'm gonna tell my mom, you blaming me for
Hard drive.
conflict and in your marriage.
There is one more
Yeah.
that I need to
Mhm.
complete.
And so they basically just chose themselves with so much discovery that they couldn't get anything.
Oh, you know what you could do though?
The worst part.
They
is
are
that
actually
they had so many
having
cases, they
A
just-
Valentine's Day
They were trying
wedding
to catch-
thing.
They were trying to catch people that. did
Repropose.
nothing. And then they were trying to, it was just amazing. They just overwhelmed them.
But Sean,
Literally, they lost all the cases. They
let
lost every
Mahia's
single
wife know that
That's
I am
crazy,
going
though.
to start court late on February
case.
14th.
Had they gone through the
So
videos,
he can
it's
renew the
crazy.
vows
They
for
could- They could have been successful.
downstairs. And I think they're giving roses.
Real crazy.
That's,
Worst
yes,
part is
that's
they
an
already
idea.
decided to release a ton of these guys. They'd
And
actually,
Rick, come to my aid. Thank you, Rick.
we're letting them go, and then they came back in and arrested everybody at the last minute, like they'd already uncuffed them. Had taken them to like a big processing center, and then they were gonna release them all, and then they just cuffed everybody back up. It's pretty crazy. And every single dude on $1 million bond, it's absolutely crazy. I had like 4 guys. And they were like on video, just hiding behind a car while this stuff happened.
Hi.
Morning, Judge.
Oh,
morning.
For your
because
signature,
they've still got
sure,
a lawsuit
before we
pending.
start.
Yes.
Got a bunch of
Thank you.
lawsuits pending.
Welcome.
Right, plus how much time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You just choke the whole court system too, and then how many, I think they hired special, extra prosecutors and stuff. I mean, I don't even know how much they spent. They had to buy these special video machines so that they could copy like.
Bashan,
They were
Deputy
like
Laura,
high
do we need to have a record taken? I will not
those were, but I'm
have
sure
you all
they're very
working
expensive.
on
And
Fiesta.
then, like these high speed video things where they could do these massive downloads. And even then it's 24 hours
It's
to
my
do
mom's
one
birthday.
download. Cause that's how much material it was. It was crazy.
Well, no. I'm gonna let you all enjoy Fiesta. So. All right, Damian Huff. Yes. Fiesta will be enjoyed by everyone.
Let me just stay for this.
Court is calling 2024 CR 011295 State versus Damian Xerxes Huff. Can I have parties announced for the record?
Opinion for the state of Texas?
Jay Moritz, Your Honor, for Mr. Huff.
And are you Mr. Huff?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Are there any applications in this case? For probation?
Yep, need to be an application for probation. I thought I told.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
Mr. Bloomquist, they've been signed.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And here you are. All right, Mr. Huff, did you review the document entitled Application for Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it? Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Huff, did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with burglary of a habitation? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
My opinion, he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Huff, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you a U.S. citizen? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney and did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 4 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. There's no application for deferred adjudication. The state recommends community supervision. This will run concurrent with 2023 CR 3681. And there's to be no contact with Ashley Barron. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense is at the plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
State is at the plea.
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand? Counsel, there any such motions? Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 4 years. There be 80 hours of community service restitution, MRT, anger management, DDRF, and a MIC evaluation. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State operations exhibit 1, Valentine.
Any objection?
No.
All right, off the record for a moment. This case number 2023 CR 3681, is he on probation?
Yes, Judge, this is, to go back on this, we met with you before on this.
Yes.
This incident occurred before his motion to revoke probation.
Mhm.
And it came up before he was able to start his,
Probation.
yes, the new amended conditions of probation. And so we asked to, since that occurred, and we talked to the prosecutor, to have him evaluated for DDRF, and then we reset the case to go back. Since that day, he's qualified for DDRF, and they understand those circumstances that have been occurring before, and that's why they're gonna run them, have to run them concurrent.
All right. Could you, all right, thank you. Could you pull that file for me, please? All right, we're back on the record. Did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand you have a right to jury trial? All right. So the reason why I asked you that is because you or your attorney have a right to cross-examine witnesses. The state is not going to be bringing any witnesses in to testify against you today. They are going to be doing that by police reports and witnesses' statements. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Did you have a chance to talk to the complainant?
We tried several times, Your Honor. We couldn't get through. We even tried calling this morning and we just got to a voicemail with the message, so. Unable to speak to the victim.
All right, based upon what I'm reading in the police report, there may be restitution. So I am going to order restitution, if any. Counsel, if you believe the restitution amount is inappropriate, we can always have a restitution hearing. So is there any objection to the court ordering restitution, if any?
As long as it's not decided, like you said, by probation as to the amount, unless it's, just need to know we may want.
Well, I will tell you what's in the police reports, and I know you all have read this. So there's an allegation that $800 in cash was taken, a black bag that cost $30, $70 for sunglasses, and then the damage to the window, $200. So that's probably close to what you're looking at. But the state will reach out for any restitution amounts. All right. This is what the court is going to do. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. Sentence you to 4 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. This will run concurrent with 2023 CR 3681. There's to be no contact and restitution to Ashley Barone. That's Barron.
All right, Judge.
No problem. When I say no contact, I mean no contact. You're not to call her. You're not to send her a letter saying you're sorry. You're not to reach out to her on Facebook. So there's to be no contact with her by you or through any third party. Do you understand?
Sure.
If you make contact with her, you're looking at 4 years in the prison. If you all decide, oh, we love each other, we're going to try to work this out and get back together, you are not allowed to do that. If she comes to where you are, you need to call the police and let them know that you're not allowed to have contact with her. If you have a weak moment where you're just like, we can work this out, we're in love, guess what? You're looking at 4 years in the prison. Do you understand?
Yeah.
There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, and the DDRF. And he's already been approved.
He's been approved for DDRF, so you are asking for mixed supervision after release.
All right, so that's DDRF and mixed supervision after release. So probation and attorneys, do you think his problem is mental health issues, not being on medications, or does he have anger issues?
From my opinion, I think it's, has to do with alcohol and drugs and a little bit of mental health supervision.
All right, because I think the MRT, it's to address thinking, and you can't really think if you have the alcohol, the drugs, and mental health going on. All right, and I'll also do a referral probation to felony drug court since they have the dual diagnosis. But keep him on track for DDRF. 100 hours of community service restitution. Field visits 1 time per month for 6 months upon release. Proof of employment within 45 days of release. No employment as a home healthcare provider or in the home healthcare field. And no employment with minors. Probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
No, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. We can go off the record. I've told you this before. If there's an issue, let your probation officer know about it. if you feel as though they're not addressing your issue, you can always come back to the court and speak with me. But above all means, if there's a problem, you gotta let probation know, because if they don't know about it, they can't help you solve it. You understand?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you.
Quick question, Judge. With
Yes.
the DDRF, there's a wait, we know that,
Mhm.
but if he gets transferred to mental health court,
Well, felony drug court.
felony drug court,
Mhm.
he'll just be there until it's time for him to go to DDRF?
No, they will be in charge of his conditions completely. So if they want him in DDRF, they'll place him in DDRF.
I guess the only thing I didn't want to have is delay in his wait time.
Oh, no, 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 it won't be delayed.
Okay.
Judge,
Yes.
can't do the referral for DRF. It's done. So
All right, can you reach out to felony drug court? Because I think felony drug court, they'll be able to see him next week since, or they may be able to see him this week. And we'll have our answer. If they're able to see him this week, we'll have our answer before the week is out.
Right now, there's a, like you said, 25-week wait. for-
That's why I wanted to add felony drug court.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
have a seat.
Yes.
Number two for information.
I got it. I found it. Give me just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both gonna, you want us to just switch off? Or-
I'm trying to figure out how to. Yes, I probably have enough for everybody. So here's one.
Okay.
This should be enough. Hello.
Mr. Campos.
Yes.
So I'm confirming with the state, we reached the date of May sixth.
All right. Mr. Campos? And state on Campos, can you do a acknowledgement of discovery?
Sure, Judge.
It's 2024 CR 2339A. All right, Mr. Campos, we're currently in a jury trial, so I can't try two cases at the same time. You're going to be called back for May 6th for jury trial. Your plea deadline date has expired. The court will not accept any plea bargain agreements without good cause. Otherwise, you'll have to plead open to the court. Do you understand? All right. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused. Just have a seat and they'll get a reset form to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And counsel, don't leave until you sign the discovery acknowledgement. All right, thank you.
Okay. Here's your coaches. If you don't have an ID, make sure you
You
get
need to
that.
carry an ID with you. It's a perfect reason to take the
I'll get it. What's the JN number, do you know?
Oh, no, I'm doing it, it's fine.
Oh, I mean, you've got to
I don't know.
Is it? Do you have
I'll
to
do
do
yours
it?
right here.
All right, can you make oh, I guess he's coming out.
Right here. For Richard Campos. I need for him to sign it. You sign it and bring it back to me.
Yes.
Still, also,
Yes.
2024.
Yes.
B.
Yes. You're welcome. Hmm? Oh, no, no, no. I understand.
That's mine. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, they're exactly. Okay, thanks.
Oh.
Right, just one moment. Court is calling 2023 CR 4709 State versus Edgar Hernandez Aguilar. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Callie and Jason Garrett for state.
Defense?
Megan Enriquez and John Kings for Edgar Aguilar.
And are you Mr. Aguilar?
Yes.
All right, we have an interpreter present. Could you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, Rob.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Mariana Rios.
All right. And are both parties ready to proceed?
The state's ready, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is a caveat. I'm just trying to get the discovery for this other
Okay.
case. Yeah.
All right, just one moment. And defense, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, just give us a moment while he prints out discovery for this case and then we'll go forward. And for the record, defense, have you received all the discovery in this case
Yes,
and reviewed it with your client?
yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. And just, we're off the record, just so everyone knows, please remain seated for your objections. I don't take it as an offense to me that you don't stand. It just makes it easier for the court reporter to hear. And I know it takes a while for people to get out of that habit. It took me a while too, until Judge No said he was going to start finding people for standing up. And also, you do not have to ask the court permission to approach the witness. I know you all are professional and you want to approach the witness just because you'll approach them for a reason. And because our technology isn't working, if there's something that you all can't see, feel free to move around the courtroom to see it.
I think that the parties wanted to briefly discuss.
All right. All right, does anyone have a copy of the motion in limine?
Discussion, I believe, is Enriquez in this Galloway after court yesterday about some issues.
All right, so defense, do you have any oral motions in limine?
We do, Your Honor.
Line A. Yeah. All right.
And state, I'm assuming you have no objection to an oral motion in limine from the defense?
No objection.
All right, you may proceed.
The state, or excuse me, the defense would ask the state to refrain from putting into my client's citizenship status as well as criminal history.
All right.
We don't intend to get into any of that, Your Honor, and just regarding our motion in limine, it would.
Well, just one second. With regards to ruling on your motion in limine, legally, it appears to the court that they should not be allowed to broach any questions with regards to those issues. However, state, if you believe the door has been opened to some way, you'll just need to approach before asking any questions in regards to that. All right. Any other motions in limine defense? All right, state.
Judge, regarding our oral motion in limine, it's just regarding the citizenship of any complaining witnesses and that's it.
Defense? All right, so again, it appears that none of that legally should be allowed. But if for some reason either party feels that the door has been open to that, then just ask to approach and the court will make a ruling.
Judge, and then one more thing I forgot is just I would ask the court to ask defense to approach if they intend to get into any like mental health diagnoses regarding the defendant. Because I haven't received any filed notice regarding any sanity that they were intending to introduce. So I think like the mental health diagnosis or things that are reserved for punishment. So I would just ask them to approach so the court can make a ruling on that before they get into that.
Like, proposal of leeway to at least allude to the fact that he was in the middle of a mental health episode without getting into formal diagnosis. He doesn't have any formal documented diagnosis. And we had the multiple reports state that the police officers believed that he, in one report says officers were concerned that Mr. Aguilar was either having a mental or drug-induced crisis.
All right, so what I can tell you is with regards to that, you'll need to approach. It is the court's understanding that anyone is allowed to testify to what they saw, what they heard with regards, but of course with hearsay exceptions. So officers are going to be allowed to testify to what they saw, what they observed. But conclusions, I don't see how legally they're allowed to make conclusions. So just approach on that and we can have a hearing outside the presence of the jury if necessary.
To the fact that you're gonna see someone on video telling the jurors, you're gonna see someone on video who very clearly was not in the right mind.
I mean, you can say what you believe the observations will be, but saying he's clearly not in his right mind, I'm not going to allow that, but you can testify to what you expect the evidence to show, you know, what everybody saw, but just not conclusory statements. All right, is there anything else from either side?
Not from the state, but
All right, then the jury, I'm being told the jury's outside. Are both parties ready to proceed to have the jurors enter?
Yes, Your Honor.
yes, Judge.
All right, now what I can tell everyone, I will remind the jurors that with regards to interpretation, I do this a lot during the trial, that if they speak Spanish, they are only allowed to take the evidence as given by the interpreter in the interpreter's translation to the English language. All right, let's bring them in.
All right, for the jury.
Excuse, thank you. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, good morning, everyone. I hope you all were able to find parking. You all took an oath downstairs, but I'm going to have you take another oath, and it's specifically for this case. So if each of you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you and each of you solemnly swear that you will make true and, I'm sorry, just one moment. Do you and each of you solemnly swear that you will a true verdict render according to the law as may be given you in the charge by the court and to the evidence submitted to you under the rulings of the court in the cause of the state versus Edgar Aguilar, so help you God. All right, you can lower your hand. Just as a reminder, there's an interpreter who is present. That interpreter has already been sworn to faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English. Whether or not you speak the Spanish language, you are to receive the evidence as translated by the interpreter. Does everyone understand? All right, State, you may proceed.
True bill of indictment. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized and paneled and sworn as such at the May term AD 2023 of the, just a second. Judicial District Court of said county and said court at said term do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment. Count 1, on or about the 16th day of March 2023, Edgar Hernandez Aguilar, herein referred to as defendant, did use and exhibit a deadly weapon, namely a motor vehicle, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and defendant did intentionally and knowingly threaten imminent bodily injury to Fatima Camacho, herein referred to as complainant, by defendant driving said motor vehicle into a vehicle occupied by the complainant. Count 2, on or about the 16th day of March 2023, Edgar Hernandez Aguilar, herein referred to as defendant, did use and exhibit a deadly weapon, namely a motor vehicle, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and defendant did intentionally and knowingly threaten imminent bodily injury to Raquel Idelfonso Ortega, herein referred to as complainant, by defendant driving said motor vehicle into a vehicle occupied by the complainant. Count 3, on or about the 16th day of March 2023, Edgar Hernandez Aguilar, herein referred to as defendant, did use and exhibit a deadly weapon, namely a motor vehicle, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and defendant did intentionally and knowingly threaten imminent bodily injury to Brittany Camacho, herein referred to as complainant, by defendant driving said motor vehicle into a vehicle occupied by the complainant against the peace and dignity of the state.
All right, Mr. Aguilar, to each of those counts, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
I think you may be seated. State, do you have any opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor. Please help me, please. There's a man that's attacking us and he won't stop. I'm really panicked, please. These are the words that were uttered by Brittany Camacho when she was on the phone with an SAP 911 operator. That occurred in March of 2023 when she encountered this defendant. Now, at the time that Brittany Camacho made her 911 call, she was on 410 right before Callahan. And what she didn't know at that time, she did know that she was being attacked, but what she didn't know is that she had been followed from her home by this defendant. She lives by a road named Talley Road, and it's out in far west Bexar County. And the defendant also lives in that area. And so when they were at a light on Talley Road, Brittany and the other occupants of her car, she was in the car with her mother and her sister, and they noticed the defendant's gold truck. And they said that he started honking at them while they were at the light on Talley Road. And at that time, they thought, maybe we're just in his way, we're gonna get out. They moved out of his way, but he still followed them. And that led into an approximately 17-mile chase from Talley Road to Callahan and 410. And like I said, Raquel, Fatima, and Brittany were in the car. They were driving a black Ford Expedition on that date, and the defendant was in a gold Dodge Ram. Now, when they're on 410 and proceeding towards Callahan, the defendant starts sideswiping them. And this causes them to get in a position on the shoulder of the highway where they feel like they're trapped and that there's no way out, they're stuck. And at that time, the defendant gets off of his motor vehicle and approaches the driver's side of that Ford Expedition. And Raquel is sitting in the driver's side. the defendant approaches the driver's side window and tells Raquel, "Give me your daughter," referring to Brittany, who's 17 years old at the time. "Give me your daughter." Raquel says, "No, I'm not giving you my daughter." And the defendant proceeds to reach into the car and he's tussling with Raquel. And at this point, Brittany is in the back seat and there's a fishing pole that's in the trunk because they like to go fishing with their dad. So Brittany grabs the fishing pole and she proceeds to strike the defendant in self-defense to get him away from the car. And you'll see he had a laceration on his head from the fishing pole and he retreats at that time. And what he does after this is why we're here today. He gets back in his motor vehicle in the driver's seat, puts the car in reverse, and repositions himself to intentionally strike the Ford Expedition that was occupied by Brittany, Fatima, and Raquel 3 times. You're going to see evidence of this. You're going to hear from witnesses that observed this. And so that goes on. Eventually, Raquel is able to get away. She drives up to Fredericksburg Road and takes the exit there and eventually ends up at a QT, a Quick Trip gas station. While she was at the light on Fredericksburg, there were some Bexar County Sheriff's deputies that were around in the area. And they see that the back windshield of Raquel's car is completely shattered. And they see a lot of animation in the SUV. And so they think this is not normal. And they follow the vehicle into the QT and they make contact with them. And they're going to tell you about the observations that they made at that QT. And I am confident that after you hear all of the evidence, you will find the defendant guilty as charged.
All right, defense, any opening statements?
Yes, Judge. Good morning, everyone. This is one of these rare opportunities where as a defense lawyer, I get up and agree with most of what the prosecutor has said. Very rarely does that happen. Normally it's, oh, you got the wrong guy, or you got, something was misinterpreted. I expect that you're going to see the same evidence that she's talked about, and you're going to be horrified with what Edgar was doing. You are going to be. You're not going to be happy with him. You're going to think something is wrong. Why is he doing this? You're also going to hear officers testify to the fact that they said he was clearly undergoing some sort of either mental health crisis or possibly a drug-induced health crisis. We're not sitting here saying that Edgar was right on that day, that he was doing the right thing, that he was acting appropriately. What we're asking you to keep in mind is exactly what Megan Enriquez was talking about yesterday, which is look at the crime that he's charged with versus what the activity was. One thing that the prosecutor mentioned was Edgar driving his car into the Expedition. I want you to pay close attention to the speed at which he's driving into it. It essentially causes very little, if any, damage to the vehicle. He's not smashing into it. He's not ramming into it. It's this weird kind of slow motion thunk and spinning the tires sort of thing. And you have to keep in mind, does that comport with what that indictment says? That in the manner of its use and intended use, he was trying to cause injury to them. All this stuff about attempting to kidnap the daughter, horrible. All this stuff about following, horrible. It's a nightmare. It is. But remember, you guys have raised your hand and sworn to uphold the law as it's charged. We believe that after you've heard all of the evidence, you will find Edgar not guilty of these offenses. Thank you.
All right. State, call your first witness.
Judge, the state calls Vanessa Hernandez.
Good morning. You raise your right hand for me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear.
Okay,
All right, if you'll state your name for the record.
my name is Vanessa Hernandez,
All right, state.
Texas. Oh, I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, that's fine.
Oh.
When I do that, people will always say Texas, but I'm asking the state to proceed with their questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
That,
State.
that was a first for me, so we got the state right. Thank you. Ms. Hernandez, can you please just introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, my name is Vanessa Hernandez.
Okay, and that's, yeah. Now, I guess what I'm asking you, I mean, I'm gonna jump right in. I don't like to go over your history or anything like that. I mean, one, you live here in San Antonio, Texas, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've lived here for quite a number of years.
Yes,
And you also work here in Bexar County, Texas.
I do.
And so pretty much you know San Antonio, you know Bexar County, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump back to March 16th, 2023, on that particular date. And roughly in the morning hours, and I'm gonna ask you some questions about that. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Okay. And I know that I just met you today, is that right?
That's correct.
And we discussed this case, is that right?
Yes,
And I had you view some video, is that correct?
that's correct.
And it's a video that you can hear yourself in it, is that right?
Yes,
And then I also had you listen to some audio, is that correct?
that's correct.
And what was that audio of?
It was a 911 call that I made.
And on that date, March 16th, 2023?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury, one, why does this particular day stick out in your head, March 16th, 2023?
One of our physical therapists was having a baby shower, and I was in charge of bringing the cake.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm struggling to hear you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a nurse at Baptist Medical Center, hospital downtown. I work in an inpatient rehab. We work with physical therapists, and one of our physical therapists was having a baby, so we were having a baby shower during lunchtime, and I was in charge of bringing the cake.
Okay. And I guess I asked you what sticks out of your head. That caused you to sort of remember this particular date, because other things happened that particular day. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. And the reason that you're here today is other things that happened that day. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. So you stated to the jury that you're out there to go pick up a cake for this baby shower. Do you recall where you were at the particular time that's important to this case?
I was on 410. I think we just passed Callahan, getting towards Fredericksburg, Belcones Heights exit, heading towards I-10.
And was anybody with you in the car?
My 14-year-old daughter.
And so can you tell the jury, at some point, did your vehicle come to a stop on the highway?
Correct.
And what happened? Why did you come to a stop?
Traffic slowed. I saw some cars stopped in front of me. I initially thought somebody was having car trouble, or maybe there was a car accident. I drive that route frequently, and that's a frequent occurrence.
And so you came to a stop, and then what did you observe at that point?
I started hearing screaming. At first, I was wondering if somebody was coming to somebody's aid, but then I just kept hearing screaming. Somebody seemed like they were in distress, and that's when I realized something was wrong, and I called 911.
Okay, so let me just, before you call 911, you said you heard screaming. Where, do you know where the screaming was coming from?
It seemed like it was coming from the one of the cars, the black car that was on the side of the road.
And do you recall what that black car looked like? Was it SUV? Was it a truck? Was it a car?
It was an SUV.
And these screams that you heard at that time, do you recall if it was a female or male?
It was a female.
And this female, did you ever observe her, like actually see her?
No, I think I saw her hand maybe reaching out of the car. I don't remember exactly, but I don't think I saw her.
So did you ever see that female outside of that SUV, that black SUV?
No.
And did you see any other individuals out near that SUV at that time?
Initially, no.
Initially, no, but when you actually, at some point, did you see other individuals around that SUV?
No, around the SUV, but not from the SUV.
Okay, so not from the SUV, but was somebody else near that SUV
Off to the side.
off to the side? And who was that?
There was a truck driver
Mhm.
off to the side. He kind of saw that something was going on also. He came out of the truck and was trying to yell for the individual to stop.
Now, that individual, that's what I'm particularly asking about. Can you describe this individual? There was another individual by the SUV?
Yeah, so he was outside of a brown truck. He had jeans and a blue hoodie. And it became evident that he was trying to either get into the black SUV or pull somebody out of the SUV. There was something going on.
And just tell the jury, did you know anybody involved in this?
No,
So you didn't know anybody that was in the SUV
no,
personally?
no,
Did you know this person that you described in a blue hoodie? Did you know that person?
no, I didn't.
And that individual, did you state that he came from like a brown colored truck?
That's correct.
And at one point, you said that you called 911.
Yes,
And did you describe to the 911 operator what you were witnessing?
yes.
And the person in the blue hoodie, can you describe to the jury what was the blue hoodie, was it just on? Was a hood on? Because a lot of times you say, hey, they had a blue hoodie on, but you have the hoodie down.
Right.
Can you describe to the jury what that individual looked like?
So he had a blue hoodie on. It was kind of cinched around his head. It was raining outside. It was like a light drizzling outside. He had jeans.
Okay. And so it's a male individual that you are
Correct.
describing, is that correct?
Correct.
And this is also what you gave to the 911 operator also, is that correct?
That's correct.
And now at this particular time, you viewed this and you said that there's also a truck driver that pulled up behind you or next to you on the highway.
Next to me.
And you said that individual was also out of their vehicle?
I noticed they had come out of their vehicle
Mhm.
and they were a little bit of a distance away from the gentleman in the blue hoodie.
Mhm.
But I could see that he was trying to yell at him and tell him to stop.
And you stated that he was trying to tell him to stop.
Mhm.
And then after this initial part where you see this person in the blue hoodie trying to get into or just talking or arguing with this lady that's screaming in the SUV, what happened after that?
Can you repeat that?
Well, what happened after this individual in the blue hoodie was next to that SUV? Did he stay next to that SUV the whole time or did he move?
He started backing away, and so I thought that he was gonna leave. He got back into his truck, and he started backing up. I was afraid that he was gonna hit our car, because he didn't seem like he was stopping. But then he went forward and started ramming into the black SUV.
He started ramming into the black SUV.
Yes,
And can you just describe to the jury, was it a high speed or was it a low speed? If you recall?
it was so we were kind of in a confined space, but I feel like you could hear the tires, you could see smoke. And so it felt like he was accelerating at a fast speed. It seemed very intentional.
And do you recall, if you do, how many times this person in the blue hoodie and that brown truck ran the SUV?
It was a couple of times, I believe at least two.
And then during this course, are you still in your vehicle?
That's correct.
And you're with your daughter that's 14 at the time?
Yes,
And you're on the phone with 911, is that correct?
that's correct.
I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 1. State. I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 1. It's the sleeve, and then on top of that, or in there, was a disc. Warren, can you identify this disc?
Yes,
And how can you identify it?
we viewed it together this morning and then I signed my name on it.
And it says it on there, but what is on that audio?
It's the 911 call.
Okay. And Judge, at this time, the state would ask to enter state exhibit number 1, tender to defense for any objections.
All right, state exhibit number 1 is admitted without objection.
And may I publish you on?
Yes.
So your 911, this is Nicole, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Nicole, I'm on 1604, there's somebody on the freeway, on the 410.
You're on 1604? What happened?
Yes, there's a man, he's trying to get into a woman's car. She's screaming, his license plate number is REP 5133, he's in a Dodge truck. This woman is screaming.
What color Dodge
It's a brown Dodge truck.
And so the woman's in a different vehicle?
The woman's in a black Expedition.
Okay.
On
the highway?
Yes, right on his face, on the highway, on the access road. We're stopping traffic right now.
On the access road?
Yeah,
To get on the highway?
Access road? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, on the freeway, we're on the freeway, not on the access road.
You said 1604, I have you on 410.
I'm sorry, I'm on 410.
Okay.
410, right before Fredericksburg and Belcone Pike.
Okay. See anybody with a weapon, like a gun, a knife?
It's some kind of stick or something. There's a truck driver that's just pulled over. I've been trying to get the man to leave. He's getting back in his truck, but he's like a Hispanic male with a blue hoodie with jeans. But he's in a Dodge, kind of like brown pickup truck.
You said he had a stick?
I'm sorry?
You said he had a stick?
Yeah, there's some. I think the person in the Expedition was trying to push him away with some kind of stick. I don't know what it was. But he's leaving it RDP 5133. He's backing up his truck next to the Expedition, and I'm right behind him.
Okay, can I get your name and number?
My name is Vanessa Hernandez. My number is 210-445-6373.
He's gonna do it.
He's trying to ram into the Expedition.
Oh.
He's getting it with his truck. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I've already requested officers to go out there.
Yes.
Do you think anybody appears intoxicated or on drugs?
Yeah, I think he's probably intoxicated. I'm jammed between the two. EMS is here. Well, oh no, the tow truck is pulling an EMS truck.
Well, I'm sorry, what? A tow truck and EMS there?
There's a truck that stops beside us, but they're pulling. I think it's a tow truck. I think there's a fire department EMS ambulance that they got out of service and they were towing it. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Okay, we've got officers that have been dispatched. Don't put yourself in harm's way. I'm sorry that you're stuck there in the middle. Oh, you're stuck. Okay. All right, we've got units on the way. All right. All right. Thank you for calling. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Now, Ms. Hernandez, was that the 911 call that you made that day?
Yes, that's correct.
And on that particular day, I mean, you can hear on there sort of the concern in your voice, is that right?
Yes.
And I also heard on there something like, I think you testified earlier that you could hear the tires.
Yeah.
On that 911 call, is that what you're describing?
That's correct.
Those tires sort of screeching?
Yes,
And were those tires, whose tires were they, or what car did that belong to?
the brown truck.
The brown truck. And where was the brown truck in comparison to the SUV when those tires are screeching?
He was, so the black truck was here, he was pulling out back and then at an angle coming up to ram the SUV.
And so was that, that brown truck that the person, that male that in that blue hoodie, was he in that brown truck?
Yes,
And was that truck pushing up against the black SUV
yes,
and those tires were screeching?
that's correct.
And you mentioned something about an EMS, it looks like EMS is here. Can you describe to the jury what you meant by that?
Yeah, at one point I saw flashing lights off to the side. I thought maybe it was the police coming. I turned, I saw an ambulance and I was trying to watch what was happening, talk to 911. I thought help was there. When I turned around and got a good look, I saw that it was the truck was actually pulling, it was the lights from the truck. And they were pulling, it looked like a San Antonio Fire Department ambulance that was maybe out of service. And so the flashing lights were actually from the tow truck, and the ambulance was out of service. So it wasn't actually something there.
So you thought that it was EMS, but it actually was a tow truck with the EMS truck on the back.
Correct.
Okay. Now, on this particular day, you had your daughter with you.
Yes.
Your 14-year-old daughter, and you came to a stop there, and you decided to call 911 because you saw what was happening.
Yes.
Did you or your daughter have an opportunity to videotape anything with one of y'all's phones?
Yeah, my daughter videotaped what was happening in front of us while I made the 911 call.
And today, where you had an opportunity to look at that video,
Yes.
and did I show that to you?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 2. That is on the sleeve, but then I'm also going to show you the disc that's contained in that sleeve. Did you view this?
I did view this.
And did you remember this video?
Yes.
And it's the same video that was taken that day of the events that you just described on 911 call?
Yes, that's correct.
And also on this video, do you hear yourself on that video?
I do.
And do you hear yourself on that video calling 911?
I do.
And do you talk to the 911 operator that you just spoke to?
Yes.
And does this video with its audio corroborate what was happened on the 911 video or audio that just came in?
Yes, that's correct.
And who took this video?
My daughter.
And so your daughter was filming with her camera?
Yes,
Or
with her phone.
her
Yes.
phone? And you, I guess, called from your phone to 911?
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask to enter state exhibit number 2. No, okay.
All right, State's Exhibit number 2 is admitted without objection.
Yeah, public drum.
Yes.
And Ms. Galloway, fine. I will wait for this to load.
And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm moving around because I need to see the evidence as well.
Well, we're waiting this to load, Ms. Hernandez. Does this start from the beginning when you first stopped, or is it a little ways in?
A little ways in, once we realized something was not right.
Thank you.
His license plate number is R T front. Yes. There's a man trying to get into a woman's car. She's screaming. His license plate number is RTT 5133. He's in a Dodge truck. This woman is screaming. It's a brown Dodge truck. And the woman is the woman's in a black Expedition. He's on the highway, on the access road. He's stopping traffic right now. Yeah. Yeah. Have you since you started the call? Do you want to go to the sun?
Now, Ms. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, is that the video that was taken that day,
Yes,
March 16, 2023?
yes,
And just to sort of break that down, you described somebody outside of a different individual, like a truck driver or something stopping. And at the beginning of that video, you do see some figure to the left on the video. Is that right?
that's correct.
And is that the individual that you described earlier in your testimony,
Yes,
yelling at the individual
Yes.
in the blue hoodie?
yes,
And so then you also went through here, and I heard on there how you're describing the brown truck hitting the SUV. Is that right?
that's correct.
And that brown truck you described, you also said a license plate. You said it two different times on the video of RDT 5133.
That's correct.
And when this truck starts backing up, what do you start doing in your vehicle?
I started trying to back up as much as I could, but there were cars behind me also.
So this is on the highway with several cars behind you,
Correct.
and it's raining that day.
Yes,
And when you finally stop and that brown truck stops, as in the video, did you see that brown truck then go towards that SUV?
yes,
And that screeching of the tires that you described earlier, is that also witnessed in this video?
yes,
And also witnessed in this video was that some of that smoke that you saw coming up.
that's correct.
And during the speaking with the 911, I hear that you're saying that he's using this vehicle or his vehicle. Can you describe to the jury what you mean by that?
It felt like initially when there was the stick, I feel like she was trying to get him away. He wasn't able to get into the car, so he got into his truck and started ramming her. And so it seemed like he was using his truck as a weapon.
All right, that will be sustained.
So when he's using his truck to ram the SUV, what were your feelings at that point?
We were worried about our safety of me and my daughter, of whoever was in the car that was getting rammed. I served in a jury years ago. And it was a, felony.
Sustain.
We'll move on from that.
Okay.
But your feelings, you felt scared for your safety.
Correct.
You felt scared for the safety of your 14-year-old daughter that was in your vehicle.
Yes,
And you weren't even the one being rammed in the SUV, is that correct?
that's correct.
And to be fair, this truck never rammed into your vehicle,
No,
but you felt that emotion of being scared.
I did. At one point in the beginning, he had, I think it seemed like blood on his face. He's just swaying from the side of the car, just like had no care about what was happening.
And now, did this all happen within, I mean, you're familiar with Bear County. Did this happen in Bear County?
Yes,
And I'm gonna show you what's for state exhibit number 3. I want to show you what's been our state exhibit number 3. I think I showed this to you previously today. Can you identify this?
yes,
And you're familiar with this?
yes,
And it's pretty much just a Google map, right?
right.
Okay. Can you circle just generally the area that you were in when you witnessed this incident and also that video that we just saw?
Yes,
Now, this is you put a circle on this map, and that's where you were on this particular day.
that's correct.
And earlier on, and just to clarify, in the video and also in the 911 tape, you sort of described, hey, I'm on 1604. And then it seems like the 911 operator corrects you and says you're on 410. So were you on 410 or 1604?
I was on 410. I was really shaken up and I meant to say, I think initially I said 1604, 410, and then I corrected myself and I said the access road, but I meant the shoulder. I think I was just kind of in shock a little bit.
So to clarify for the jury,
Yes.
you were on 410 near Callahan,
I had just passed it, yes,
just past it, and you're on the highway on
Correct.
410.
yes.
Okay. Your Honor, offering state exhibit number 3. And
All right, state's exhibit number 3 is admitted without objection. Yes.
I'll hand that to the jury to publish. And at this time, Your Honor, we'll pass the witness.
Defense?
This is kind of what Mr. Aaron had just asked you. What happened that day, what you witnessed was very bizarre, right?
I don't, that's one way of putting it.
It was scary, you were scared.
Very scared,
And it appeared that the women in the expedition were scared.
yes,
And I'm sure your daughter, 14 years old, who recorded the video, was probably very scared, right?
yes,
What happened wasn't really making sense. You couldn't really figure out what was happening, right? At first.
at first, but I could tell a woman was in trouble.
Right, when you pulled up, you thought, because it wasn't this was all happening on the right shoulder, right?
That's correct,
Okay, and so at first you thought maybe someone was having car trouble, I think you said,
initially,
and then you said, or maybe it was a car accident, and you were first trying to figure out what was happening.
yes,
And that's because none of the cars were moving when you first approached the vehicles, right?
correct, that's correct,
Okay, so they're not driving the speed limit of 410 or not even close, they're stationary, right?
well, we were driving kind of slower and then we became stationary,
Right, but the vehicles that were involved in the incident that you're reporting from your vehicle, they were stationary when you first approached them, right?
that's correct,
Okay. And it's a black SUV on the side of the road, right?
yes,
Nothing was in front of the black SUV, right? In front of the shoulder. There are cars behind you, so you couldn't back up, and then the truck is in front of you, but nothing's in front of the black SUV, right?
no,
And there wasn't like a barrier to where the black SUV couldn't go to the grass, like to exit the highway or the shoulder, right?
yeah, there's a barrier on the side, she couldn't have gone off to the,
There's a barrier blocking
I can't see from this angle.
Okay. I don't think there is from where I can see in the video, but there's no barrier to her right and there's no cars in front of her, right? There were no cars in front of her in the video.
Not that I recall.
Okay. But still, it's strange. So, okay, another thing is the stick. When the dispatcher asks you, does this individual referring to the man that's involved in the incident, they say, does he have a weapon like a gun or a knife? You say, no, there's a stick, right?
Correct.
Okay, and the stick, just to be clear, was not in his hands, it was in the hands of the occupants of the vehicle, right?
I don't remember who had it initially.
Okay, but later you clarify the people in the expedition are trying to get him away with the stick.
I did say that.
Okay. But just to be clear, you never noticed there was no gun involved, knife involved, anything like that?
Not that I could see,
Okay,
but there was a car involved and he was using that to ram her.
that's not in dispute, we can see that on the video. At any point in what you witnessed, none of the people in the expedition got out of the expedition, right?
No, and I wouldn't either.
No, I understand, no, it was very scary, it's not disputed that they were scared, that you were scared, but I just wanted to paint the picture of what you saw, no one got out of the vehicle, right?
That's correct.
You and your daughter definitely didn't get out of the vehicle,
No.
and the people in the expedition did not get out of the vehicle, right? You never saw anyone exit.
No.
Okay. One thing you mentioned when Mr. Garaham was talking to you is that y'all were in a confined space, correct?
Correct.
So I know you said even told the dispatcher you couldn't back up, that's right.
I did back up a little bit.
Okay, but you couldn't move that much.
That's correct.
Okay, and most importantly, the whole truck couldn't back up because you were right behind it, right? You can only back up very little
He did back up more towards an angle.
towards an angle. Okay,
Yes.
but feet, matter of feet, right?
I can't say, but I would think it would be more.
Okay. But you said you were in a y'all were in a confined space, right?
Correct.
The gold truck was in a confined space between the expedition and your vehicle. Is that right?
Can you say that again?
The truck was in a confined space. The confined space that you described was the space between the expedition and your vehicle, right? That he was confined to.
It was a little further than that, out to where like that he was going off into the other lane a little bit, I believe. But yeah, but it
One
is like,
lane over a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Okay, that's a good point of reference. A little bit into the other lane. So he backed up about a little bit into the other lane distance, whatever distance that is.
Mhm.
So it was impossible for him to generate any high speeds, right?
Your Honor, I just object to speculation.
Sustained.
Did you see him drive at a high rate of speed?
Yes.
At a high rate of, what would you define as the high rate of speed?
I can't define the speed, but I could hear the tires screeching. I could see the smoke. I could hear the impact.
It was 1 to 5 miles an hour. At most.
No, I
I'll
don't think
just
so.
object to defense counsel testifying.
Sustained.
You know, you would have to agree that it was less than 10 miles an hour speed, correct?
I can't say, but I would say that it would. I don't know.
Okay.
But I would think it would be more.
Okay, but the wheels were spinning, so he did say that the slower rate of speed and the wheels spin, right?
Correct.
And then again, slowly at the slower rate of speed and the wheels spin, right?
I don't think it was slow. I think a slow would be like driving and you tap into something. This felt like he was accelerating.
You didn't see anybody injured in the expedition, right?
I heard the screaming.
Right, you heard screaming when he's out the vehicle and all of that, but you didn't see anybody who was injured or anything like that.
I saw him ramming into what was the
Objection to non-responsive.
oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Oh, she's asking that the question be repeated.
Just yes or no, you didn't see anybody injured in that expedition.
Physically, no.
And again, I'm not trying to take you up or anything. I know, I understand what happened was very, very scary. At one point you say, told Mr. Garrahan, I don't think this is on the audio. You said it appeared he had no care about what was happening, right? When you saw him, when you were describing him, right?
I did say that.
So, and I think at the time on the 911 dispatch, they said this, do they appear to be intoxicated? And you say, I think he probably is maybe intoxicated or something is off, right?
Correct. I said he appears to be intoxicated.
Okay. And then you told Mr. Garrahan he appeared to have no care about what was happening.
I think what I meant by no care was that he didn't care about the woman being injured.
But just to be clear, you didn't see any injuries on a woman.
Correct.
And do you think it's possible that this behavior is consistent with the mental health crisis?
No, just objective speculation.
Sustained.
The video was taken by your 14-year-old daughter, that's correct?
That's correct.
Okay, she's sitting in the passenger seat of the vehicle.
That's correct.
Okay. And so again, you would agree that the two collisions were at a low rate of speed, nowhere near the speed limit of 410 or anything like that. They were a low rate of speed.
I can't say what the speed was.
And then again, you would agree that nothing was preventing the expedition from driving away. There was nothing in front of the expedition.
Correct, but I don't know if the car was not functioning. Oh, sorry.
All right, that objection will be sustained.
Okay. Sorry.
Maybe 5 questions, yes or no, go for it. The doors of the vehicle weren't pushed in.
I couldn't see.
The airbags didn't deploy.
I couldn't see into the car.
The people didn't appear to be injured.
They appeared to be in distress, but I don't know about physically
Okay,
injured.
thank
Yeah.
you. Not injured, right?
Yeah.
And would you agree with me that moving at 1 to 5 miles an hour or half a mile an hour is much different than moving at 30 miles an hour?
Yeah, I'm just gonna object to speculation.
All right, you'll need to lay the foundation for her ability to answer that question. For now, the question is sustained.
You drive on the roads, right?
I do.
And you would agree that something being hit at, and I'm not even talking about this case, in general, something being hit at 5 miles an hour versus 30 miles an hour, the danger is much different, correct? Just generally, yes or no?
Can you repeat that? Because I'm
If something is hit at a high rate of speed versus a low rate of speed, the danger is much different.
correct, but I think
Okay,
acceleration,
that's-
okay.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
All right, state.
Yes, one question. If you're getting hit by a vehicle and it's going 5 miles an hour, can you die?
Yeah.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Objection, Your Honor, to that conclusion.
All right. The objection is untimely, but ladies and gentlemen, you're to ignore that last answer. Any other questions?
No
State?
further questions. May this
All right,
witness be, oh, sorry. Your Honor.
That's okay. Is this witness excused?
From the state, yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, just 1 second.
Oh.
Defense, is this witness excused? All right, you're excused. Thank you so much. All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls Lasagna Robinson.
And to the interpreter, whenever you need to switch out, if you'll just let the court know.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. Morning. Good morning. All right. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, and if you'll adjust the microphone and make sure that you keep your voice up so that members of the jury and the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record.
Lasagna, L-A, capital S-O-N-Y-A, Robinson, R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N.
State.
Ms. Robinson, will you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
Yes, my name is Lasagna Robinson. I'm a custodian of records / paralegal for SAPD Communications.
And in your duties, in your employment, what are your duties as a custodian of records for SAPD?
To maintain and to retrieve, and upon request, send out those records.
And would that include 911 calls that are received by SAPD?
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury how the records are kept by SAPD?
Once that call comes in, it is digitally recorded on a database.
Okay. And when SAPD receives 911 calls, is there any documentation that's generated regarding those calls?
Yes, it's called the Incident Detail Report.
Okay, and was one generated in this case?
Yes, it was.
Okay, do you need a copy of that?
Yes, just to refresh my memory.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, just one moment. If you can turn that around and if I can have the mouse.
Oh.
Oh, turn this. You are not allowed to discuss anything that you've heard. You're not allowed to start conferring or deliberating with each other. Everything that you need to know about this case has come from inside this courtroom and nowhere else. Does everyone understand? All right, so we will have you all back at 11:15 and Deputy Laura will bring you in. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. Be seated.
Since you can't see.
All right, and state this is your witness.
Ms. Robinson, over the break, did you have an opportunity to review a 911 call associated with the case that we're here for today?
Yes,
And was that made on March 16th, 2023?
yes,
And was it associated with SAPD case number 23057803?
yes,
Okay, and did you have an opportunity to listen to the contents of that call?
yes,
And was it a true and accurate recording of the 911 call that was received by SAPD on that date?
yes.
Okay. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we'll stipulate.
All right, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, the defense has stipulated that this is the custodian of records. So the foundation has been laid. Does everyone understand? All right, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna give you all an early lunch. And I'm going to have you all back at 1:15 p.m. There are plenty of places for you to have lunch downtown. Of course, along the river, it tends to be a little bit more expensive, but there are different places. If you go on Houston Street, Deputy Laura will tell you of the different places that you can go to have lunch. Again, you are not allowed to discuss what you've heard about this testimony with anyone. No one is allowed to discuss it with you. You're not allowed to do any research or deliberate or watch anything about this case. Does everyone understand? Make sure that your badges are visible because sometimes attorneys will speak about different cases and they may speak about this case. And I want to make sure that you only listen to what's heard inside this courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, my understanding, we can go off the record. My understanding is maybe raining a little bit outside, so prepare. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too, thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody can be seated and Deputy Plea, we have Deborah Burke's client. We're gonna break for lunch. We'll be back at 1:15.
Can he take him back for now?
Do you want to hear the objection too?
No, what I'll do is I'll allow them to take him back so he can get his lunch. I wanna make sure he has his lunch. But then you all can, if you all can be back here at 1:15 as well. And what do I need to hear? Because I'll probably need to hear everything to make sure it's objections.
So, yeah, the longest one's only about 7 minutes. The others are a couple minutes here and there, so.
And we're not on the record, so I know
right?
Oh, no, I
So
don't either.
I have contacts for that my whole, I mean, or glasses my whole life. And then now, probably when I turned about 50, so a year and a half ago, it started where I cannot read like without, like at least, I get the 1.25 right now. Then I had a pair of
Oh, I didn't go.
1.5. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I'm not even gonna tell you what mine.
Hey, but I'm gradually going that way.
1.25.
By the time I'm like probably in my 60s, I'm gonna be like blind. I mean,
Unless you get eye surgery like I did.
well, you know, I am terrified of that.
No, I didn't get, I had a cataract.
Oh, so the what do you
I
call?
thought it was like trying to wipe something off my
Yeah,
eye. but
yes.
The windshield was dirty.
See that?
But
So basically, you want him to pray for cataracts?
no. So
I got that.
there might be something else so when I went in, because they only saw one on this side, and
Yeah.
they said you had to have trauma. I said,
You hit your.
then I remembered 40 years ago, I got hit in the eye by a guy in a bar.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and that's, I have a scar right here.
Yes,
But
hi.
I was like, that
Welcome.
was a long time ago, right? So I'm like,
I just have a few questions.
So, because my mom and my dad.
Little essence.
She made it, sure. Tell you, there are a lot of courts today. I've been trying to keep up in the announcements to put every place that there is a court. And I just think that watching a trial will give you an idea. Because I hate for people to have a mortgage, the equivalent of a mortgage, and then you decide, this is not the field I want to be in. But this trial, both sides think it will be completed. Probably by Friday, they'll probably do closing arguments. So it shouldn't be that long. And right now, in this case, I'm about to do a
Oh my gosh.
sentencing. So with the sentencing, she's,
Yeah.
because they wouldn't
she does a plea, and let me see.
get it filled. They said
Oh,
they had
because
certain
she
kind of
pled with another judge. So now for me, it's just to get her conditions and see whether or not I'm gonna follow her agreement. So she's applied for probation and the state has agreed that she should have probation. So reading over everything, it feels as though probation will be good for her.
Oh my God.
And probation is really trying to habilitate people. And also if the complainant is owed any type of restitution, to make sure that they have their restitution.
So I said.
So that's what we're gonna do right
I
now.
can't see you right now, but you.
All right, court is calling 2024 CR 4982, State of Texas versus Bryla Butler. If y'all can come forward, please. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
for the defense?
Deborah Stanton, defendant.
And are you Miss Butler? All right, and I'm assuming she entered the plea bargain agreement with Judge Angelini?
No, I don't remember.
Yes.
Presided, but
Oh.
we did do a plea.
Yes. And at that time, did you enter a plea of no contest or guilty? All right. All right, have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state,
Yes.
defense,
Yes, Your Honor.
and the TAP evaluation, state and defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
The best PSI and TAP eval that I've ever read in my life, because they explored every detail of her life from practically birth till now. And I'm very pleased with their assessment.
All right, according to your plea bargain agreement, there's a $1,500 fine. The state is recommending deferred adjudication. This is to run concurrent with 718-359 and 728-369. The state is taking in consideration NITMAC number 752-652-760-865. All right, any witnesses?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Not from the defense unless you want. Here.
Yes. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Brianna Butler.
All right, so if you are released from custody, Where would you, well, who would you be staying with?
I'll be staying with my mother.
All right. And people will say that, but have you picked up the phone and called her and she wants you to stay with her?
Yes.
All right, now she's under oath. Okay,
After her, I want to tell you something about me and her mom.
okay, all right, thanks. So do you have any children?
Yes, I have one son.
And what is his age?
His age is 2 years old.
And who does he live with?
He is not in my custody anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost my rights.
Okay. And so what are your plans as far as employment? What are your hopes, your dreams, your goals?
My goals is to be a college graduate. I want to be a nurse, a RN. So when I get out, I do want to start school. I was already enrolling in the process, and then get a job.
All right, so what I can tell you is, it's not impossible, but it's difficult. Anytime you have a criminal case, whether it's deferred or regular probation with a conviction, when you're seeking employment somewhere where it requires a license, it becomes more difficult, but it can be done because I know someone who actually went to prison, and I know this because I work with them to try to get their license and everything. Guess what? They're now an attorney. So it can be done, but you just made it a struggle, okay? All right, did you all want to speak to the length of deferred adjudication? It's in the plea paperwork outside the agreement, it's for 4 years.
Anything up to 4 years.
All right, so I'm going to set your deferred adjudication at 4 years deferred adjudication. If you complete everything successfully, you can always approach the court for early termination. But for early termination, I'm going to be looking at whether or not you've been positive, whether you've been reporting on a regular basis. You understand?
Yeah.
So there's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, proof of employment within 30 days, and I'll say 30 days of release.
Yes.
There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. And they no unsupervised contact with minors, that can potentially change once you've shown me that you have everything, your life together. You understand?
Yes.
This will run concurrent with 718, 359, and 728, 369. Taking consideration NITMAC number 752, 652, 760865. Field visits 1 time per month for 6 months. 200 hours of community service restitution. If you complete a higher level education, or if you obtain some sort of trade school certificate, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. So it'll be up to you whether you want to end up picking trash up on the side of the road or bettering yourself with your education. You understand?
On the school, yes, ma'am.
There's to be no contact with Longley, Longle. There is a $1,500 fine that will be probated. And there is, I'm going to follow the TAP recommendation, and that's to be dual diagnosis, outpatient treatment with probation. And there's going to be 60 sober meetings in 60 days. Probation, is there anything else that's needed? And I see here where it says that she met the criteria for the MIC. So I'll do MIC. That doesn't increase anything. It's just those are probation officers who have specialized training to address any mental health issues you may have.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing? All right. Excuse me, Jason?
Yeah.
If you could write your number on these. But I don't like the number. Your bar number.
Sorry.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then we can go off the record. So in this court, communication is complete.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's an issue, let probation know. If you feel as though they're not a good case, you can always come back to the court. This is what I tell everybody. My goal is to be rehabilitated. If you feel as though you're going to take a drink, because you're not allowed to drink alcohol on probation or do any other type of drug, pick up the phone, call your probation officer, say, I'm struggling right now. Because that shows me that you learned what you need to do in order to stay clean and sober. But if you're out here in this world and you're having problems and you don't let them know, guess what? We don't know and we can't help you. All right, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, and you want to tell me about her mom?
She and I are texting every day. She wants to know what happens now, today. So, yes, her mom's here.
All right, so they'll probably release you. It's probably going to be midnight. I have no control over
We
that.
have to make sure she's on bond in the
Okay.
2 county court 7 cases.
So if you make bond for that, this court is not the court that will be holding you. It'll be the misdemeanor court, okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Just had to talk to county court 7. Oh, where are you? Over there. So you
115, Judge? All right, yes.